What's going on, family, and welcome back to the channel. Dragon Canoe checking in again. Y'all can already tell what type of time I'm on. Just doing what I do best, staying in check, searching for the Melchizedek. Sometimes you gotta go backwards before you can go forwards. And sometimes you gotta handle things with care. Much like this next topic we're about to get into. Let me know what y'all think. Leave a note in the comments. Again, I had to take my time with this one. I didn't want to approach this lightly, but at the same time, I felt like it was necessary for me to circle back to this specific topic. Very important in our investigation. Let me know what y'all think. Dragon Canoe checking in again.
And it came to pass at that time, when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way. And he had clad himself with a new garment, and they two were alone in the field. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him, and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, Take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have 1 tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. Because that they have forsaken me, and have worshipped Ashtoreth the goddess of the Zidonians, Chemosh the god of the Moabites, and Milcom the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways, to do that which is right in mine eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. Howbeit I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life, for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes. And unto his son will I give 1 tribe, that David my servant may have a light alway before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. And I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thy soul desireth, and shalt be king over Israel. And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and wilt walk in my ways, and do that is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant did, that I will be with thee, and build thee a sure house, as I built for David, and will give Israel unto thee. And I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever.
Consequently, there is no word for rain in either the Quechua or Aymara languages. Instead, in winter, the coast is covered by a fine mist, which is burnt off as the sun heats up the land. The Chinese name for this mist is Peru. Check this out. Diego Ribero's Master Chart of the World of 1529 shows the coast of Peru in great detail, with an inscription that describes Peru as province and cities of Chinese silk. Ribero's map was published before Pizarro, the first European, got to Peru. So before Charles V sent Pizarro to Peru, it was already mapped out in Diego Ribero's Master Chart of 1529. Let that sink in. Check it out for yourself. I can't make this up. It says Provincia de la Ciudad de Chincha, cities of Chinese silk. Let's go. We know from the records of the first Spanish chroniclers that in the 1420s, the principal trading areas would have been Can or Chin in the north of Peru, then coming south, Chincay, then Pachacamac in the southern suburbs of modern Lima, then Paracas, some 150 miles south of Lima. Chincay suddenly started to mass produce pottery in the 1420s, some of which they called China. Alright y'all, I'm building a case. It's all gonna come together. Let's get it. Chincha or Chincay is often used in the context of Chincay, an administrative region of the Inca Empire, pronounced like the English word chin, and chai pronounced like chai or kai, with the stress on the second syllable. The term relates to the Chincay or Chinchay culture, or people of the northern coastal region of the Inca Empire. Chincha is the equivalent of Chincha, Chinese silk, in medieval Catalan. She describes Inca Tupac Yupanqui's peaceful conquest of the Chinchas and how they were absorbed into the Inca hierarchy, and of the courtesies extended first by Tupac Yupanqui to the Chincha leader, and then by Huayna Capac and Atahualpa. She describes the Lord of Chincha meeting Pizarro in a litter carriage in the same procession as the Emperor Atahualpa. In short, the Chincha Lord was of similar status to the Inca chief Atahualpa. Atahualpa explains this by saying that the Chincha Lord once had 100,000 ships. 100,000 ships, they say. With all that being said, the Chincha Lord wasn't no regular dude. He wasn't no Jimmy or Joe. He was that Naga. He had 100,000 ships, they say, treated in the same way as Inca King Atahualpa. So we're just connecting the dots here. Could this be like a northern-southern kingdom type of transaction? You're going to get the same respect here as you would get there? You let me know. Leave a note in the comments. In my opinion, the Inca's Emperor Atahualpa was correct in saying that the Chincha had once commanded a huge fleet. He was once an admiral in that fleet, and when it was wrecked had settled with his people in the Chincha Valley, where they prospered as merchants. Hence Diego Ribeiro's description of cities on that coast as cities of Chinese silk. The Inca conquest has always seemed so extraordinary. They arrived from nowhere around 1400 to 1450, and within 150 years had conquered an empire in South America as large as the Roman Empire. They were also extraordinary administrators, arranging to blend the skills of subjugated people for the common good. It all happened quite suddenly under Pachacuti. Pachacuti overran the Chincha as described, and the Chimu in the north, which gave him the coastal plain as far as Quito in Ecuador. Then he appointed Tupac Yupanqui to lead armies southward to Chile. Pachacuti overran the Tiwanaku and the Wari. At its greatest extent, the Inca Empire stretched 2,600 miles north to south, an empire of some 20 million people, exceeded in extent and numbers only by the Chinese, they say. The relationship between Genghis Khan, the Karaites, and Nestorians is a central narrative in the unification of the Mongol tribes. The Karaites were a powerful nomadic confederation that practiced Nestorianism and played a pivotal role in Genghis Khan's rise to power as both mentors and eventual rivals. By acknowledging Tourul as his adopted father, Temujin entered into a vassal relationship, which assured him the protection of a powerful leader. Temujin paid regular youthful visits to Tourul, and eventually the Unk Khan, Wang Khan, who took him into his retinue and kept Temujin close to him. Alright, let's get this real quick. A vassal, a person or country in a subordinate position to another. So Temujin was at a lower status or subordinate position to the Wang Khan. Vassal, also from late Middle English, via Old French from medieval Latin vassalis, of Celtic origin compared with vavasseur. So Temujin or Genghis Khan was a vassal to Tourul, the Wang Khan. Before he was known as Genghis Khan, a young Temujin sought the protection of Tourul Khan, the Wang Khan, leader of the Karaites. Tourul had been a blood brother to Temujin's father and became a crucial patron, helping Temujin recover his kidnapped wife and defeat early rivals. As Temujin's power grew, tensions rose. Tourul's son Sengun convinced his father that Temujin was a threat. Here we get a bird's eye view of Orontius Fine's map, 1531. The real ones know this map here. We have what appears to be America. You can tell by the panhandle, Terra Florida. what appears to be what we could consider Mexico today, labeled as Asia, Cathay, Manji, leading into what we could consider South America. Let me know what you think. Leave a note in the comments. Here's another aerial view of the Roish map. Again, land labeled Manji, Tangu, Tibet, the real ones know. And then in the upper part of what you could consider Newfoundland or Canada, you have what's labeled Gog and Magog. Let's get this backstory on this map real quick. Johann Ruysch, 1507. The Europeans who landed in America in the late 15th century thought they were in Asia. A notion conveyed in this map, which presents the islands explored by Columbus and his successors, such as Canabalos, Hispaniola, and La Dominica. To the southwest, the cartographer drew an immense landmass, whose western edge seems undefined, appearing to be South America. To the north is the coast frequented by Basque, Breton, Norman, and Portuguese fishermen. Newfoundland, or Terra Nova, is drawn not as an island, but as a peninsula attached to the Asian continent. West of the Newfoundland coast are the Asian landmasses of Gog and Magog, described by Marco Polo, the etymological origins of which are biblical. This is how Genghis Khan finessed his way to the top. Peep this. Genghis Khan used Karaite women to cement his lineage. His fourth son, Tolui, married Sorgatani Beki, a devout Nestorian and niece of Toril Khan. She became one of the most powerful women in history, raising 4 sons, who all became Khans. So again, I can't make this up, man. So don't overthink this term Nestorian. Just read between the lines when they describe a Nestorian. So Nestorians held high-ranking positions as administrators, physicians, and advisors within the Mongol court. Nestorians believed that the union was not such that we could say the humanity of Isus actually belongs to the son of the Most High Power. So Nestorians believe Isus is not the son of the Most High Power. Simple definition. They call it the Nestorian heresy. So again, read between the lines, man. Who's a Nestorian? This part here, in my opinion, is the most intriguing part of the story. I feel like it's the dead giveaway to who is who. Listen how he broke it down real quick. After his victory over the Tartars, Temujin, aka Genghis Khan, considered the time ripe to strengthen his claim to the throne of the Karaite ruler by a marriage alliance. Temujin's eldest son, Jochi, would receive Wang Khan's daughter as wife. In return, Temujin would promise one of his daughters to the son of Sengun. Alright, listen to what Sengun said. Sengun is the son of the Wang Khan after Temujin proposed a marriage proposal. The marriage proposal was rejected by an indignant Sengun. This is what he said, in quote, "When one of our women goes to you, she is left standing by the door, constantly looking towards the place of honor. When, however, one of your women comes to us, she sits in the place of honor, looking towards the door." This was Sengun's reply, according to the secret history, which adds, these words caused Genghis Khan to lose his heartfelt affection for Wang Khan and Sengun. Alright, let's get back into it. So Sengun and the Karaite elite viewed the proposal as an insult, believing the Karaites were superior to Temujin's tribe. Torul's refusal to grant the marriage was a profound diplomatic slight in Mongolian culture, signaling a formal break in their relationship. Next, we're about to find out what the Wang Khan felt about this, according to Marco Polo. Oral tradition reported by Marco Polo attributes to Wang Khan responsibility for the failure of the marriage alliance proposed by Temujin. Temujin's message is said to have caused Wang Khan to erupt in rage. End quote. "How dare Genghis Khan seek the hand of my daughter?" he exclaimed. "Does he not recognize that I am his liege, that he is my vassal? Go back and tell him that I would rather burn my daughter than give her to his family in marriage." I take back what I said. Wang Khan's response was definitely more gangster than Sangoon's. He basically is like, you remember what a vassal is, it's a subordinate. So imagine a vassal to the king asking the king's daughter for her hand in marriage. He crossed the line. Wang Khan took it as far as saying, "I'd rather burn her than give her to you." The Karaites had a powerful and recognized monarch, Torul Khan, who had been granted the prestigious title of Wang Khan by the Jin dynasty. In contrast, after the death of Temujin's father, his family was abandoned by their own clan and left in a vulnerable, low-status position. The Karaites accepted Nestorianism, cited by Abul Faraj, and commonly known Bar Hebraeus. Torul's grandfather and father bore the names Marcus and Kyriakis. The Karaites, like the Naimans, were of a higher cultural level than the Mongols. They had a royal family and an organized military structure, from which Temujin adopted the institution of a personal bodyguard. Marcus Baruch Khan, Karaite ruler, while Kyriakis represents a similar Greek-derived name. We know the Greek comes from the Hebrew, meaning of the Lord. These names highlight that the Karaites were not primarily shamanistic, like some neighboring tribes, but were largely Nestorians, with leaders often bearing names like Marcus. Nestorianism was declared heretical by Western councils and rejected by Rome. So again, simple math. After the Islamic conquest of Persia, Nestorians became highly influential, protected subjects. They served as the caliph's elite physicians, scientists, and translators, playing a critical role in preserving philosophy and developing early Islamic culture. Early Nestorianism was the dominant religion of several powerful confederations, including the Karaites, Naimans, Onguds, and Merkits. The Naimans adopted Buddhism from the Uyghurs, but Nestorians also made some inroads. Plano Carpini stated that the Naimans were heathens, aka Buddhists is what they're saying. William of Rubruck, who traveled through the same area 8 years later, writes, however, that they were Nestorians. Certainly, Kuklug, son of the Naiman Tayan Khan, was originally a Nestorian, being converted to Buddhism only after he fled to Cathay. The Naiman rulers had a reputation as great magicians of associating and having shamanistic practices. Baruch Khan of the Naimans, for example, attempted to use his powers as a weather sorcerer on the battlefield of Khoisan. Nestorians played a significant role in the Crusades, but primarily as a diplomatic bridge and a small resident minority, rather than as a primary fighting force. While they were generally on the side of the Crusaders, their relationship was complex due to their theological status as quote-unquote heretics in Western eyes. Again, connect the dots here. In the 12th century, European crusaders were motivated by the legend of Prester John, a powerful Nestorian king in the East. They hoped his mysterious army would arrive to help them crush the so-called Saracens. Small pockets of Nestorians lived in cities like Jerusalem. Dead giveaway. They were often treated better under the Crusaders than under previous regimes, though they were still viewed as religiously schismatic by the Catholic Church. So again, polar opposites here. Let me know what you think. Leave a note in the comments. Nestorians versus the Catholic Church. Holy Roman Empire versus everybody. We're just connecting the dots here. The connection between Prester John and the Karaites is that the Karaite ruler, Torul Khan, aka Wang Khan, a real historical figure who was an historian, is widely believed to be one of the primary inspirations for the European legend of Prester John. One theory suggests that the title Prester John is a corruption of the Karaite leader's title. Torul was given the Chinese title Wang, meaning king, and the two words Wang Khan may have been misinterpreted or mistranslated into Prester John, they say. Wang Khan, Prester John. Apples to apples. Marco Polo states that Prester John was actually an Asian monarch, the Wang Khan. Such was the authority that Marco Polo's book carried. Everything's about to come full circle. Dragon Canoe got you, let's go. That country has many inhabitants, provinces, kingdoms, and innumerable cities, all of which are ruled by a prince known as the Grand Khan, which in our language means the King of Kings, or Khan of Khans, who mainly resides in the province of Cathay. In the beginning we got Chincha, cities of Chinese silk in Peru. Now we got Cathay, connected to China, connected to what we can see in Rontius Fine's map, what appears to be northern Mexico, what we know today, in America. So what's the connection between Cathay and Chincha? And are the Chincha lords, did they just come down the coast from northern Mexico and kick it in Peru? Here we have a Prester John verse Holy Roman Empire connection. Check this out. The earliest reports of Prester John in Europe came from accounts of a great king in the east who had defeated the Persians. This likely refers to a victory by the Kara Cathay over the Seljuk Turks. But the story became associated with the Karaite rulers as the legend spread. So Kara Cathay over the Seljuk Turks. European travelers and missionaries who ventured east, they say, often linked the mythical king to the Karaite rulers. While Prester John and King Arthur are both legendary monarchs, they occupy different roles in medieval lore. King Arthur did not fight in the Crusade. His stories are set in the 5th and 6th centuries, nearly 500 years before the First Crusade began. The most direct literary link between King Arthur and Prester John is found in Wolfram von Eschenbach's Parzival. In this Arthurian epic, the knight Fairfiz marries the Grail Bearer. Their son is named Prester John. This effectively integrated the legendary king into the Arthurian bloodline, suggesting that the purity of the Round Table and the Holy Grail had migrated to the east to be protected by Prester John. In medieval literature, Prester John is a distant kinsman and vital branch of the Arthurian and Grail dynasties. In this literary crossover, Prester John is the son of Fairfiz, who is the half-brother of the Grail hero Parzival. Here's where it gets interesting. Since Parzival was a knight of King Arthur's court, Prester John is often categorized as a cousin or nephew within the broader Arthurian family tree. Fairfiz, a knight from the east, their son, Prester John, travels to India Superior to establish his kingdom. In many versions, he takes the spiritual power of the Grail with him, becoming its ultimate protector. This mirrors the medieval belief that as Europe grew more corrupt, the Holy Grail's purity could only be preserved in a remote mythical kingdom. Remote mythical kingdom? Are we talking Chincha? Are we talking Cathay? In the letter of Prester John claims to guard the gates of Alexander, linking the three kings through the shared duty of defending civilization against the unclean nations of Gog and Magog. Presented him as a Lord of Lords or King of Kings, defending the world against apocalyptic threats. The letter describes Prester John as the guardian of the Caspian Gates. Behind these gates, he supposedly imprisoned the unclean nations, including Gog and Magog, who were said to be cannibals and monsters. The Tartars lived in the north near Siorsia, and in this country there were great plains that did not have dwellings like cities and castles, but there were good pastures and there were plenty of great rivers and lakes. They did not have lords, but they certainly paid tax to one great lord, who was called in their language Unk Khan, which means in French, the great lord, and this was the Prester John of whose kingdom everyone speaks. The Tartars paid him a tax of one animal for every 10. The legend reached a fever pitch in 1165 when a letter, purportedly from Prester John, was addressed to several leaders, including Holy Roman Emperor Frederick Barbarossa. In the letter, Prester John claimed to be a descendant of the three kings and a king of kings or lord of lords who commanded 72 tributary kings.